Hello viewers, this is the second part for Crafts and Industry History chapter. Today we will discuss about industrialization in India. We have already read about the conditions before the establishment of the British rule in India and after the establishment of the British rule in India, and plus we have also discussed about the decline of Indian industry. Now let's see industrialization in India. The British government in India, after taking lots of revenue and after setting up industries in Britain, they were not at all interested in increasing industries in India. They don't want to increase industries in India. Next point, Britishers also thought that if Indian industries were developed, then they might provide tough competitions with the British industries. But after the revolt of 1857 and the recurring famines paved way for Indian industries. As number of famines came up, Britishers need to set up famine commission. And once famine commission was set up, they gave suggestion that to decrease pressure, they must have to set up industries. Okay, so that employment can be increased and agricultural dependence could be decreased. Next, Lord Curzon, after getting suggestion from the Famine Commission, Lord Curzon tried to decrease the pressure given from the Indians by setting up a separate Department of Commerce and Industry to look after all the industrial needs. Now let's discuss about the next topic, that is beginning of modern Indian industry. Modern Indian industries were very different from the cottage industries. The production method which was used by the cottage industry was mostly handmade, but we could see that industries means machine-made products, and it is very different from the handmade. So, large-scale industries and cottage industry. Cottage industries were small industries, could be started from home, whereas large-scale industry needs a huge place, a big land, huge labor, abundant supply of raw materials. For that, Britishers need to work for some different ideas. As you know, before the coming of the British, the roads, there were no railways, there were no roads. So as there were roads and railways, they are not better for the movement of the raw materials towards the industries. So what Britishers started to supply raw materials to the industry, they started building roads, railways and infrastructure. As they have started this, we could see different industries developed. The first one to develop was the sugar industry, which developed somewhere in Betia, Bihar, 1840. This is a cottage industry, whereas after the huge demand started to come from Britishers, that is from the Europe, the cottage industry turns itself into a large scale industry, that is the refined sugar. Okay, so refined sugar industry, from the cottage industry it developed into a large scale industry. The sugar industry is seasonal in nature. So next comes the cotton textile, that is in 1854 by Kawazi Nana Bhai. Okay, these cotton mills, they set up at Bombay, and other all started to come at Ahmedabad, that is Gujarat, as these places were very much assure the availability of raw materials, that is cotton. Next comes the jute industry. Jute industry started to set up in 1855 in Bengal. As you know, the proximity for setting up of jute industry in Bengal or Kolkata is the raw materials plus the port cities to export. Then comes the coal mining. Coal mining directly didn't develop, but it has a connection with railway and also for industries. As you know, railway lines started to set up by 1850s. 1850s, railway lines were set up or laid, and after setting up of railway lines, they need coal for pulling the bogies, the trains. The trains need power. The power comes from the coal. Okay, and industry also runs with the help of coal. So we could see that different industries developed. Now we can see the iron and steel industry. You might know that iron and steel industry, without this industry we could not make buildings, we could not develop infrastructure, we could not even lay railway lines, and even many other different industries will stop working without the development of iron and steel industry. So we can say directly that iron and steel industry is the backbone of any country's economy. Okay, the first of its kind, that is an Indian entrepreneur in 1907 developed, set up TISCO, that is Tata Group of Industries. I think Tata, you know this full form, Tata Industries. Do you know the full form? If you know, please let me know the full form for TISCO. By Jamsetji Nasrwanji Tata in Jamshedpur, Jharkhand. Okay. We can also see that within this industry, at first the output did not increase. The demand, as the demand will be, as the product or output will be. So the demand for iron and steel industry came up after 1939. Okay, that is after the Second World War, or during the Second World War. Sorry, during the Second World War, the demand for iron and steel industry increased. Before that, the condition was not so good. The next comes the plantation industry. Indigo, tea and coffee, but nowadays banana, rubber, and these are all plantation industries, part of plantation industry. But by the time British were there in India, indigo, tea and coffee were produced. So indigo plantation, you can see it is a dye, okay, like Neil, you know. So it is planted by the Britishers, and it is cultivated on a large scale. And Britishers used to force Indian laborers to work in these plantation industries. Not only indigo, but tea and coffees are also same. Even in tea and coffee, we could see that Britishers kept a monopoly right for the trade in tea and coffee. That means no one except the Britishers could trade in tea and coffee within India. So let's begin the next topic, that is the results of the growth of modern industries. So what were the consequences, the results? Now we can see in these 3 points. We will try to understand that because of the coming of the industries, artisans, craftsmen and different skilled labor become unskilled or unemployed. They were now worked as a laborers. Secondly, we could see areas of interest. Okay, we could see the development for areas of interest, like the development of areas those who were nearby these industries. Okay, so that means most of the areas where industries were not there, even though we could see in northeastern India there were no large scale industry. So that means there is no development. So by the time we could easily understand the development of areas nearby industry means wherever industries were there only the industries were also developed, and development of nearby industries could be seen. The places were also developed. Now the next point comes is the profit from these industries goes to British. So why do the profit from this industry goes to British? It is easier to understand that these all industries were owned by the Britishers. I hope you all understand what I mean to say, and I hope you all understand the lesson also. So please comment to improve our channel, and please study this lesson properly. The case study is for you to study. Thank you for watching patiently. Please comment. Thank you.